you, Troy. Okay, we're going to get started here, and I want to introduce myself. I'm Mark Egly. I'm a member of the Iowa PGA, and I have my name on one of those little circles back there 25 years ago. The person you're going to, I promise you, I'm only going to hit 4 shots here. But for those of you from Iowa know who Sean McCarty is. But the McCartys and Brokers International, and many of you that have come in from out of state, I promise you this is going to be an eye-opening experience. And thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to end, this first time you're going to end a golf clinic and start it with the Marx brothers. But Chico Marx was the screw-up of the Marx brothers. And he knew about happiness. The others invested their money and did things like that. They were serious away from being comedians. But when Chico Marx was asked what the toughest shot in golf was, he said that would be a mashy niblick off the tree, down into the bunker, off the rake, over the mound, and into the cup, and the shot's so difficult I've only done it once myself. So now, the big thing about, Sean and I have done this here before, and you're going to see something spectacular in him, but it might change the way you play golf from here on out. There's a certain level of happiness that goes on at this facility. There's a young man playing Nate McCoy. His father is a USGA major champion. Last night, my best friend in the world is Jerry Vidovic. He'll be around here. I have the joy in my lifetime of having 3 United States amateur champions as my friends, students, and employees. Jerry's one of them. He won it at a place called Brown Deer in Wisconsin. And this man is a Big Ten player at the University of Iowa, broke the course record there. And he just happens to be the head professional at Brown Deer in Coralville, Iowa. But the big thing that I am so proud of, there's a man named Gary Babcock here. There's a man named John Dinnebeer and staff. And as a PGA member, I know we're supposed to be good in business, we're supposed to be good at the game, but the one thing I want to tell you is, we know how to make it fun. I don't have any caddies here, but Sean has 2. One, oh, so you're going to play by the rules? Talk to him about the rules. But the one thing that they do at this facility that I feel pretty good about starting back in 1980 was supplying a wonderful environment. When I was running my junior golf program there, Mike McCoy was part of it, and he's been, for those of you not from Iowa, he's been the low amateur and the United States Senior Open the last 2 years. Nate was a great finisher here. He won just last weekend. But the one thing that I know that I felt like I did a very good job of teaching Mike, but in our junior program we had Iowa's great Joe Brown helping me. Sarge Fontanini was one of the first people to ever play in the Masters at Augusta. And in my junior program, I had 3 men who had played in the Masters already. And it created an environment second to none. And Jerry was telling me last night, in the history of Illinois of 12 million people, they've had only 3 USGA champions. And I think my part in getting that done here in Iowa, the 3, was supplying the environment with some knowledge. And I'm 59 years old, and I'm not going to tell you which of us is which, but there's 5 Iowa Open champions over there between the 2 of us. Your dad has 4 of them. But we have more broken bones, more broken backs. I've had 3 car accidents, 2 in the last 6 years, and I haven't played. That's not the reason I went 4 shots, it's just he's better at it. But it is the idea that we eliminate lower back pain. We've spent a lot of time working on the farm. One of us had a horse roll over on him and broke his arm at a 90-degree angle. The other fell out of a barn and landed on his head and wouldn't tell his parents for a few days that he was bleeding internally. So if you can imagine how bad our backs are, and do you have a little thing on already? That's, for those in Iowa, we know what that is. And so first of all, anybody here that hits it really far, can anybody tell me where all the power comes from in golf? Rotation? Okay, you're young, you can do it. You were pointing hips over there, weren't you? Okay, I have an education background, a medical background, a physics background. I'm known as roll 'em and fold 'em. That's kindergarten and first grade. And I promise you, every PGA Tour player, woman, man, senior, rolls them and folds them. But you got to come over here now. We have the chair. Have you ever heard of a nutation?
Not that, exactly. No.
Has anybody heard of a nutation? You're going to learn about it now, and you're going to be longer and straighter forever. Sit in the chair, please. Just take a couple of swings back and forth. And which way, when he swings through towards Gary there, which way are his hips going to go every time? Which way are they going to go? To the left. Okay. And I'm very proud that I'm bringing baseball players to the game of baseball. In the last 4 years, I've had 5 young men in Class 4A baseball lead the state of Iowa in home runs. Only one from all the baseball instructors, because we teach force equals mass times acceleration, and when you're holding this, you're conserving the angular momentum. You didn't know you need angular momentum, but you do. Get back in the hitting position like you, no, sit in the chair, get back here, swing really fast, and get, baseball so you don't hit your knees. We don't have liability insurance for that. Okay, see, he keeps his head down, that's hurting his neck. Now, get back here in the hitting position. You can have as many tries as you want. Well, have we met before right now?
No.
Okay, so we didn't plan this?
No.
Feet on the bar. Okay, now swing as fast as you can and rotate. Oh, wait a second, your hips went the wrong way. Do it again, I'll give you another try. He is transferring the angular momentum. And every one of you, has anybody here not graduated 7th grade? I know you forgot, but force equals mass times acceleration. Would you do that again and stop when you get right here? See the mass? It's from the spinal cord to the end of the club. It's twice as big as when he was in here. And now, for all of you that are over 35, you've always been told lead with the hips and the club will follow. Would you lead with your hips? Don't swing the club. Lead with the hips. Come on, lead with the hips. They're waiting. Okay. Now, do you see my point of view? I'm Mark Egly. Sean McCarty. Thank you. And the one thing I do with baseball players, you see them, they're going up to a screen and doing this and miss the fence. The object is to hit the stupid baseball. Get this thing accelerating out. So now, all my players, and what I was trying to explain, there is probably the most beat up back, beat up hip of anybody that you're ever going to meet playing the game at the highest level. But Sean struggled with this at first because he had to hit it with just his right arm. And I am Isaac Newton all the way. Action, reaction, equal and opposite. They say Egly's all right arm. No, they're not. I go where the inequality is at. And that's why I'll come up here and now let the left arm go. But you see what the left arm has a tendency of doing? Hitting the ball out there. So if you're keeping your head down and left arm straight, you're going to the right. So now, and when I won the Iowa Open here, this is the driver I use. Okay, you see a difference? But you know what was true back then? Force equals mass times acceleration. So now these 2 shots, you're done with me. But in the car accident I had 3 years ago, it destroyed my right knee. My baseball players and golfers have to do this. And you see that thing drawing, and hopefully long enough not to kill that cart person. And so now, for all of you that think that that's a fluke, it's a scientific thing called a nutation. It's real. It's not something I brought up, thought up, dreamed of. Now, watch my hips as I aim towards the green. Watch my hips. They went the wrong way. Did the ball go okay? Yeah. Did it draw? Yeah. So I was releasing the angular momentum instead of conserving it. And you see your cars in the parking lot? That's the one that has us worried here today. Sean McCarty, get up here and just warm up and hit a few. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this guy. He's the only person I know that gave his sponsors money back because he had such a horrific pain. This young man went out and has played a number of tournaments on the PGA Tour, the Nationwide Tour, and he rolls them and folds them, but he goes well beyond that. Can you hit it off of 1 foot once, please? No, you can put the toe on the ground. Have you had any surgery on your hip in the last 2 or 3 weeks?
No, 6 months ago.
6 months ago. So we're talking to people, we have bad neck, bad back. Oh, you see how he's drawing everything? Now just warm up, hit a couple there and get relaxed then. But this young man, I was at the home the other day and I was in the room and I saw the All-American plaque with him and Eldrick Tiger Woods. First time he played the PGA Tour, he measured his club speed at 148 miles an hour, which was 12% faster than the 130 that John Daly and Tiger Woods were at. And this is the mental part of the game too that I want to talk about. I know we have a lot of insurance people. You've ever heard of Nationwide? In the US Open in 2003, he was going to carry an Allied bag because they're a subsidiary, and it wasn't there 20 minutes before the tee time. Sean and I are in the locker room, and there's a guy named Tiger Woods sitting in front of his locker, and I'm talking to the locker room guy saying, the Allied bag is here. Federal Express says it was delivered at Sunday and so signed for it. But I'm being really quiet because I don't want to disturb Tiger. And he's doing this in front of his locker. And Sean goes off. I said, I'll take care of it. And Tiger looks at me and he goes, what's so important about this golf bag? I said, Allied is a subsidiary of Nationwide, the Nationwide Tour. And I said, Sean plays well. We're already in with Nationwide. We could use a few sponsors exemptions. Tiger looked at the 2 locker room guys and he says, you two, this is the most important thing you're going to do this week. And I said, Tiger, I'm sorry for bothering you. He goes, no problem. I was on the 18th hole, and the 18th hole is just clear cut and easy. So what I learned in that moment because of Sean McCarty was, some people think about what they're going to do before they do it, and in the preparation, how important it is. And the stories we have, actions speak louder than words. Would you get your utility club out? Oh, which one? Which one?
East of that.
And what utility club is this that you're using?
A little Adam, I think.
What number?
2.
Okay. So here's a 2-iron. When he was playing, he led the PGA Tour, the Nationwide Nike Tour, whenever he played, by 15 or 20 yards almost every week. Unless he had to hit his 1-iron. His 1-iron was the 300 on the fly club. Are you still 42 years old?
Going on 62, yeah.
Going on 62. Now, for those over there, can you see where this ball is going to as you tee it up here later today, and you can understand the significance? We work on propelling the golf club. Just like a little youngster would pick up a ground ball and throw a baseball from third base to second, there's the action. Okay? Would you take a backswing and stop? These are numbers people don't want to listen to. From this point right here to right there, that club head is going to return to the ball in 0.15 seconds. Michael Jordan and LeBron James cannot catch a basketball and shoot it with 0.3 of a second. So if you're going to tell me that he has to get here, lag, hold the angle, turn his hips, and 7 other steps that other people have, you're greatly mistaken, because it is anatomically and time-wise impossible. And when I first met Sean, you remember the action that would allow you to hit a double bogey every time? Because every tournament you were going to hit 1 or 2 100 yards out of bounds, right?
Yep.
And what was the action?
Lead the ball to the left, turn the hip.
Did it hurt your body?
That's why I got a brace.
That's why he has a brace. Now, stand up here. I want you to wallop this thing and see how close you can get to the green with it, with the 2-iron. Okay, caddy, 3-wood. Well, then step up and move faster. Who's going to get paid the cash? That's what I'd worry about. These two have been more part of more tournament victories than you could ever imagine. Now this one better get to the green, kid. That's pin high. It's kind of tough that the wind is blowing this way, because last time we did this, I said, okay, now take this one at the middle of the green and watch his right arm fire and watch where he finishes. Okay, is that enough at the middle of the green for everybody? Okay, caddy, go get the driver. We went through this phase here and I finally said, okay, let's cut one at the hole. Then I think there was a divot about this long, about 6 feet in front of the hole. And statistically, you didn't know, some of you were coming out of state, to know that you were going to watch the man who was the longest in the PGA history without steroids and all the other funny stuff. And now I'm going to tell you, too, how I first came about knowing your dad. As he hits it and knocks this thing way over the green. Okay, a friend of ours, David Rummels from West Branch, Iowa. So is Marv Cook, so is President Herbert Hoover. Dave and I are playing a tour event, we're roommates, and I've been working on his game with him. And he goes, Mark, he goes, can you do me a favor? These people back at my golf course, you just hit another one over the green, you don't have to hear about your parents. They have been the greatest thing in the world to me, and I'm on tour because of Sean McCarty's parents. Dead serious. And they said, how old are you? 9. Okay. I am the longest ball striker in Iowa, and there is a 9-year-old. David Rummels tells me, I want you to work with Mike and Mary McCarty's son. He's 9 years old. You can do a lot of good for him. I said, in a heartbeat. Okay, now see if you can you cut one back to the right so it goes towards the flag? So I said, sure, you name it. He goes, oh, I just got to tell you something. He goes, he hits it farther than you do. And I'm going, yeah, right. Yeah, right. And so now, I'm all determined that Dave has kind of baffled me that there's a 9-year-old that can hit it by me. And then the next thing he says, that's totally unbelievable. And he goes, oh, by the way, he hits it cross-handed. Everything I've said is exactly true, isn't it? He stood up at the Pee Wee tournament at Grinnell, Iowa, and he said, I have to wait. And he's this big, this 9 years old. And they said, no, you can go ahead and hit it. There you go. Okay. Now you want to go get that one out of the cup? And so what you're seeing here is, watch his body, how quiet his body is, and how fast the golf club swings around his body. And which one of you is going to fix the ball marks on the green? Okay. So what you're seeing here at Lake Panorama is a happy place to play golf. My friend Doug Meredith took this place over 35, 40 years ago. I became family here. And you'll see that grass over there? That's what the whole place looked like. It was bankrupt. Melvin, Doug Meredith did a great job. Then it floundered. And then Gary Babcock and John Dittmer came to this facility and they made it the greatest place for junior golf in Iowa and maybe the United States of America. And those of you that are customers of Brokers International, they're writing checks so that young people can come out here and play golf. And my joy in life has been that I've had probably 6 or 7 kids that have gone on to be NCAA coaches and another 10 that have done others. And like today, we have Mike Small from Illinois playing here as one of the greatest players. I know that it's happening in Illinois the same way. And so, Sean, now just make a pretty swing and say, I'm ready to play golf today. now to end with the Marx Brothers, there was a stock market crash in 1929. All the Marx Brothers except Chico, the fun, happy one, lost every dime. And his brother Groucho looked at him and he said, and he was the one who bailed Groucho out from committing suicide and finance, because he used to have 90% tax rates. He had nothing. But Chico, the reckless one, had all the money to save the family. And Groucho looked at Chico, he says, "Hey Chico, you know what shape the world is?" And he said exactly what he said. He said, "What?" He goes, "It's in great shape because of people like you." And so when we leave here today, when we leave here on Sunday, whether if you're a professional or whether you're an amateur, a customer, or just one of the great volunteers that make us feel like we're playing the PGA Tour, this world's a lot better place for what I see going on at Lake Panorama every day of the year, but especially during this Iowa Open. Have a great day today, and I want you guys to enjoy Lake Panorama and golf like never before.